Peace. Yeah, hopefully this feed is a little bit better. Hopefully this comes through a little bit cleaner. And I'm sure that you'll let me know. Alright? Peace, y'all. Yeah, please keep me informed as to whether it's buffering or not. I changed location, so this should be a better stream. But I'm in the forest, so sometimes it's good, sometimes better. Okay, yeah, and you can hear the birdies, and it gives a perfect backdrop to what I want to talk about anyway. Thank you. I'll check the DM out, definitely. No buffering, okay. Alafia, yes indeed. Peace, love, and light. So today, I'm not going to take too much of your time. I want to speak about what the title is called Curating Consciousness. And consciousness is like how we feel about hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And people are very protective. People are very conscientious. People are very emotional about their connection to hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So they have this attachment to hip hop, and people almost kind of like want to parent it because hip hop is very personal. And I think that consciousness is the same way. Consciousness is very personal, and consciousness is very expansive. And consciousness is almost like how you in the college and you just got into that college, and you was in a particular dorm room, right? And you like, I'm connected to this dorm room. I got memories in this dorm room. You feel me? I might have even brought a extra addition to this dorm room. Can you see the grills? Yeah, it's all opal. You see? Heated. Yeah. Yeah, they opal. It's all opal grills. I like opals, They're all blue stones, right? So you may have put on extra additions to your dorm. The dorm was there when you got there though, right? You brought a TV to the dorm. You know what I'm saying? You might have fixed the windows in the dorm. You did things that brought a particular level of prestige to the dorm. Not that the dorm was run down when you got there, but you brought improvements to it. You kind of lessened the noise. The dorm might have been rambunctious and riotous before you got there. So I'm using an analogy, y'all. I'm using an analogy to consciousness. When I got into consciousness, you know what I'm saying? It was one way, and we did the best that we could to either preserve the things that was good and change out the things that we felt needed an upgrade, right? And then you move on from that dorm and you move into maybe, let's say, residential housing somewhere else. And then at some point, you might even become a teacher of that school and move into a different part. And then at some point, you move away and you become the alumni, right? So when you leave the dorm behind to the newer class that comes in, you feel me? You want to make sure that they are preserving the dorm in the same way. They're cleaning up, that they're adding on to the level of prestige that you brought to the dorm, the remodifications that you made on the dorm. You know what I'm saying? The noise ordinances, the things that you was very cautious about to bring a level of respect back to that dorm, because that dorm was once called the animal house, right? And you don't want to bring no shame to your dorm or your fraternity. You know what I'm saying? And consciousness is like a fraternity. And the fact that people don't want to see it as if it's a fraternity is also a big problem. Now, you have to be expansive in your consciousness in order to be more inclusive about what the term fraternity means. This is not a secret society where people are sacrificing babies and drinking blood. I don't mean a fraternity. This ain't a society where, you know, you got to ride the goat behind the curtain. I don't mean a fraternity of that nature. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I mean. I mean like a priesthood. I mean like, you know, something that's based on a fraternal understanding, a brotherhood, a sisterhood, something that's like ours, something that we could call our own. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to use the term a mob because we're not engaged in criminal activity. We're not criminals. You know what I'm saying? We're actually people who want to better our environment, add on to society, and become better citizens of our republic, whatever that republic is. Right? So I don't want to use the euphemism of a mob to make a comparison to us, where it's more like a fraternity. You know what I'm saying? Because information and consciousness is something that was not ever in no historical time period was it accessible by any and everybody. And the fact that it is right now and the condition that it's in right now shows why, right? For time memorial, it was once reserved for a specific class of individuals that proved themselves worthy enough to be in possession of gold bars. If you don't show me what you can do with a piece of copper, why would I trust you with a bar of gold? And that's where we're at, right? Because this information age has made consciousness so accessible to people that everybody got it. And what's the value of something if everyone has access to it? And then they don't know what to do with it. Case in point, I was making a ruckus earlier this year, and people even was like, damn, son, you went dark on us. I was through with the bullshit from the community because it was almost like repetitive, and it happens on cycles. Around New Year's, around Christmas really is when it starts, right? And I make this point, I point it out, I'm like, niggas don't be there for the winter solstice. They're not properly educating. They're not doing anything for nature. They're not holding ceremony. They're getting ready to tell you that you should not be celebrating Christmas. Not offering an alternative means for you to understand something that you are psychologically still connected to because you are encapsulated by the emotional memories of when you was a child dealing with Christmas. When you found out that Santa was not true, that's what started your level of becoming an outlaw and a rebel in your household because you felt that your parents lied to you. I'm speaking from personal experience, nigga. I started wilding out, right? I started wilding out after I found out about the biggest lie. They shouldn't have told it to me to begin with, let alone told it to me, and I found out later on that they was lying and I couldn't put one and two together because my mother wasn't a Christian. So I'm like, why did you lie to me about Christmas? God damn it. Right? I was emotionally attached and enthralled to that experiment right there. I'd have had a lot more respect for you if I knew, what I already suspected, that you was the one working hard to buy me the shit that I wanted, but you had to give me the myth and the tradition. You had to initiate me into that fraternity. You feel me? And then I dropped out of it unexpectedly, and it wasn't on good terms. And technically, I ain't been the same since in terms of trusting my parents. I'm telling you some real shit. Right? This where things started might have going left, because I remember it wasn't too long after that I started boosting. And I can remember there was a connection. The first time that my father told me no, nigga, I stole something. Okay? That's how it happened. First time that he told me no, and he wanted to be conscious about it. Oh, I'm not going to get you G.I. Joes because, you know, they perpetuate the white man's military industrial complex, you know what I'm saying? And they condition young black males to go into the armed forces. And I ain't give birth to my children for them to be fighting the white man's war. That's how that shit started. Okay? But I was like, Pops, I can't come outside, nigga, if I don't have G.I. Joes. I'm like, nigga, Ain't nobody playing with you know what I'm saying? I don't remember, like, yeah, it was the little, remember the green army ones and shit? I was like, nigga, ain't nobody playing with those, nigga. Like, you gotta have the G.I. Joes with the Kung Fu grip. Or you can't come outside. Nigga, there's nothing out there. Why are you outside then? We playing with G.I. Joes now. Yeah. I wasn't playing with CoverGirl and none of that shit, so I can't relate. I wasn't doing Barbie. We was only doing G.I. Joes as boys, okay, in the 80s when I was growing up, right? And Pops had the nerve to tell me I couldn't get G.I. Joes for his political reasons. He was expressing his consciousness to me, right? I was not trying to hear it at the moment. I'm just sharing a little bit of my backstory so I could get into this conversation with you, and make it make sense. And then I remember boosting after that. I remember taking something, right? So I could have just blamed Santa. I could have just blamed Santa if I was not hip to the fact that it was my parents buying me shit. It wasn't Santa. I remember being a lot more harder on my parents' paws than I was on Santa when I ain't get a gift and shit, and they be like, "Oh, Santa just, you know what I'm saying? He must have missed the tree. He must have missed our house." I'll be in my feelings, but I get over it. If my parents don't get me something though, I hold that shit against them all year, and then some. You feel me? But yeah, Pops told me no, and that pushed me to do things. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't the best things in alignment. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say that in the world of consciousness, right? Come around Christmas time, this is when niggas start building out their soapbox. They want to get on their soapbox. They forget all about winter solstice, right? Just like these niggas forgot all about spring equinox, right? And they only want to get on their soapbox to tell you that you should not be celebrating Christmas because it's a pagan holiday and all of us is pagans anyway. So I'm like, nigga, if we not doing the pagan thing and we not doing the Christian thing, nigga, what are we doing? Because y'all is not doing the pagan solstice thing. So when do you niggas celebrate? When do you niggas celebrate? When do you put a smile on your children's face? Right? Because y'all don't even do Kwanzaa and shit because y'all say that the nigga was CIA. So when do you niggas celebrate? Y'all don't stop to celebrate for the solstice either? So y'all don't fuck with the sun, y'all don't fuck with the moon, y'all don't fuck with water, y'all don't fuck with the trees, you don't fuck with the fairies or the mythos. Nigga, what do you fuck with? Y'all just angry all day, every day? Like, y'all niggas don't have one day of celebration. Y'all don't even own Juneteenth, so that's not even you. When is your day? Right? So consciousness rallies together to become a megaphone, right? To talk down on people who are happy and celebrating with their families. It really starts on Thanksgiving. So it don't even just start on Christmas. And I didn't want to be that nigga last year. So I took myself out of the conversation. I voluntarily put myself on the cross. It was like, look, this is not the approach or the attitude that I'm, getting into this year. I'm not advocating it, but I'm just not part of the conversation. I've been part of the conversation for over a decade. Somebody told me, well, nigga, these are the monsters that you helped create that's coming back home, right? The chicken's coming home to roost. And I had to sit down and look at that shit like, damn, did I really help create some of this shit? You feel me? I really helped create some of this shit. So it's my responsibility to start taking it apart. So January 1st, I made some posts like, yo, you have the ability to operate in dual hemispheres of your brain, meaning that you can understand from a metaphysical, scientifical, astrological even perspective why people celebrate on January 1st, right? You don't have to be so fucking conscious, my nigga, that you miss the whole meaning of this shit. It's really about the Sirius constellation at its highest point, right? This is what the keepers of the secret, once again, people would knock a fraternal organization or a secret society, but the Masons know this, right? The motherfuckers that you're so concerned with, the Illuminati knows this, but you niggas just conscious, just so smart, right? This shit goes over your head and you don't get it. The only thing that you want to show up for is to tell people what not to do and the reasons that they shouldn't do them. I said, look, don't listen to these niggas because they are not going to prepare a motherfucking table or a plate come the spring that they tell you is the new year. These niggas do not, right, reserve no motherfucking pomp and circumstance to celebrate on the day that they say is the new year. They just want to be in your face to tell you what the new year ain't. But what the new year is, these niggas are silent. They're nowhere to be found. There's no ceremonies. Where's the ceremonies going on today? I don't see nobody's posts talking about we over here getting it lit. I don't see none of that shit on my timeline. I don't see nobody motherfucking wallowing in the daisies and shit like that. Skipping through the daffodils. I don't see none of that. Nobody's here to greet spring on the first day of spring. Where's the celebration? Right? Where's the fucking confetti? On the timeline. Where's all the Happy New Year posts? You don't see none of them. Tomorrow's the new moon, nigga. You could have got it 2 for 1. Where's these niggas at? Where they at? You feel me? And that's why I just was like, look, man, this shit is toxic positivity. Stop falling into it. These niggas is just trying to sell you something and they angry at life. They have not figured it out how to pivot out of the anger. That's the basement of consciousness. When you get into the house, when you enter in the house, nigga, you fall directly through the floor and you go into the basement of consciousness. And that's where everything, that's where, you know, they're cooking up the cauldron of anger at. Some people never make it out of that basement. You know what I'm saying? Some people never make it out of that basement. And I'm only saying this to say, you know, if you have a platform, if you got a quote unquote following on your timeline, then it's your responsibility as a leader, right? As a thought leader, if nothing else, you know, as somebody who can utilize their platform just to point people in the right direction. It's your obligation to raise the vibration of our nation. And the highest vibration that our people are always going to be in is the one dealing with ceremony. You know what I'm saying? Ceremony. You know, our symbiotic relationship to nature. Shout out to Keebalon. Shout out to Brother Rich. Shout out to Red. Shout out to KT. All of these brothers that I'm mentioning are engaged in some form with a fasting period around this time. Some sort of regimented period that are getting people for the changing of the seasons. You know what I'm saying? And shout out and anybody else that I'm missing out there, because I know that there are many, you feel me, who are on top of their job, who are directing the people, you know, to constructive consciousness where they can actually participate in the benefits of what life has to offer, right? Shout out to y'all as well. You know what I'm saying? I don't know everybody's name, but yeah, my timeline was pretty vacant. And I seen the people on my timeline who be on the soapbox come January 1st or Christmas, you know what I'm saying, and make the loudest noises about telling other people how they should show up in life. That's a very irresponsible position to take. And I'm the kettle calling the pot black, if that's the right word, because I used to be that person. I did that shit big time. You know what I'm saying? Probably almost made a motherfucking I probably made a career out of it to some degree, right? But we're never too grown, to correct our errors and our ways. We're never too grown to grow. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I don't think that, I know for myself that's not a position that I should be taking. And if that's not a position that I could be taking, the responsible thing to do is to also, get on these networks and be like, yo, well, if anybody was following that example, then that example was in error. I don't think that you should be following that example anyway, or either. Or you should do whatever you can to get yourself out of the basement to some degree, because I ain't in the basement with you no more. You know what I'm saying? So, that's a very uncomfortable place to be in. You know what I mean? You don't got to knock something in order to enjoy something else. You can put all of your attention, your focus, and your energy in just preparing to receive blessings. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to tear something else down to be in receivership for something that's yours. You know what I mean? Just show up, and it's yours. You know what I'm saying? It's already there. What is yours has always been yours. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we made it through a pretty, or let me speak for myself. I made it. It was a dark winter. You know what I'm saying? It was a dark winter, and I embraced the darkness. So I'm cool with that. It was a necessary darkness. I didn't say a necessary evil. It was just a necessary darkness. And there's a very conscientious education that I had to go through transformation and embracing both sides of the coin. That don't make me no more of a darker individual because I had to go through the lessons of the dark day of the night. You know what I'm saying? Makes me more of a light individual, matter of fact, to get a fuller understanding and appreciation for what the dark entails. You know what I mean? But I'm not bringing winter energy into the spring. So the things that are done in one season, them shits fall to the side like leaves, and you make yourself anew, right? For a brand new season. It should change your attitude. It should change your approach. It should change your outlook. It should change your energy. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even on the screen during the winter time. Now I'm on screen. It's springtime. We doing something different. You feel me? I had to go through this whole period of ego death, of making sure that, I wasn't just doing this shit just to be seen, just to be heard. You know what I mean? Like, what does that benefit my own personal development? You know what I'm saying? And you could get caught up in this shit. You could get caught up in, self-aggrandizement, narcissism. You could get caught up in it, you know what I'm saying? And really start believing the hype, you know? So, yeah, and this daylight saving times, all it, this shit it's been different. And I think people always say it's almost cliche. They like, yo, time is speeding up and dimensions are compressing on each other. You know what I'm saying? And I'm feeling the crunch. But god damn it, since this last daylight saving time, like time has been kind of thrown for a loop. This shit has been kind of different. You feel me? Oh, shout out from the Big Island. Y'all got a situation out there with them volcanoes, right? Yeah, yeah. Lost in the sauce. Yeah, like I be waking up. I don't know what day it is for real, and I used to be a lot better with that. My dreams is a little bit more intense, and I'm going deeper and deeper into like level 3. Like wherever I'm going at in my dream, that shit is different. I don't hear alarm clocks. I don't hear none of that. Wherever I'm at, I'm gone. I'm there. I'm there. I am not in the physical realm until I get back here, and there's no interceding because I'm like deeply submerged in whatever that dream is about. You feel me? Yeah, Pele doing her thing over there, huh? Y'all stay safe over there on the Big Island. Yeah, so I don't have, I be waking up. I do not know what day it is. I have to recalibrate myself. It takes a little while longer, you know what I'm saying, to recalibrate myself. Shout out Christian, you in Cleveland. What's the deal with Ohio right now? Have you guys done any of your own individual tests on the air and the water? I highly suggest that you get in front of that ASAP. You know what I'm saying? Cannot just be sitting in that environment thinking that everything's going to take care of itself. I mean, yeah, prayer is a dope thing and faith is wonderful, but there's certain things we got to be proactive with. Yeah. Yeah. So let me share this video. I edited one of these videos last night. Yeah, I told y'all I'm stepping into my role as an editor. I really have a lot of fun doing editing. It's a passion of mine at this point in time.
Spark of divinity, your spark of divinity, my spark of divinity, everybody's spark of divinity. To come down here as what we call a black person one time, then another time come down here as a white person. And if that's the case, we come down here as black, then we come down here as white, quote unquote, and we call it white supremacy. Wouldn't that make it divine supremacy? Because the same people we accuse of oppressing us, we were those people. Because we incarnated down that as that thousands of years ago.
Okay. I have a slightly different view on that. I feel that if I'm coming back white, then I must have done some real fucked up shit. Okay. Oh, man. I didn't expect you to say that, doctor. And first of all, understand I'm not messing with my white brethren and sisters, but I have Portuguese in the family. Because if you understand Trinidadians and West Indians, it's Callaloo down there, all right? There's black, there's white, there's Chinese, there's everybody down there, all right? Understand? I ain't white. I don't care what you see. See this here? That is just my hair. It's what inside here. Understand, I am not white. And there's people that put out this stupidness on, where I see that again? YouTube, and he's a white man, and they show a white man whose name is Phil Valentine. They say, this is him. And they can look at me and him and say that's the same thing. How? You could look at this and look at this other thing, man, and say that is me. No. I have Portuguese. I have Fulani. I have Gullah. I have Carib. I have a whole lot of everything. Mixed up French. Spaniard, all of that. But my mother tell me,
check it.
If you ever bring a white woman in here, it's cut ass.
Spark of divinity, your spark of divinity, my spark of divinity. Everybody.
So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun taking some of these classic clips that I so enjoy from our master teachers and, getting to express them the way that I always envision them in my mind, because I'm a visual learner. When I hear things, I see pictures. My mind is overreactive with ideas and thoughts, and the best thing for me, almost like I'm a savant, is editing, because now I'm able to marry picture to video, and video to emotion, and it's my favorite form of expression. So I'm a newbie. I'm just beginning. I'm aspirational though. I wanna say that this time next year I'm going to be on top of my game. I'm not going to put a ceiling on myself to say that I'm going to be the master of all masters, because then what would the fun be with the rest of my life? You know what I'm saying? But I do know that I'm going to accelerate to a space and a place as an editor that is going to be so engaging and fun, because I'm a fan, I'm a student first. So I'm somebody in the audience. These are the type of things that I've always wanted to see, to fill in the gaps, to make information more engaging to myself as a viewer. As a viewer, I've always wanted to put lectures with music. I've always wanted to put graphics on top of words. I've always wanted to marry, different worlds. I've always wanted to make conversation more plain. You know what I mean? So that's what I've been doing some of that with my time. I've been finishing unfinished works, utilizing the assistance of these different programs like ChatGPT. As a writer, I have like 4 incomplete books. You know what I'm saying? So I'm utilizing these prompts. All of these prompt Bibles. Shout out to Red Pill. For getting us that. You know what I'm saying? I'm finishing incomplete work, and I'm starting after I'm finishing that work, because I always have a tendency to be doing 3 or 4 things at once. Now I could do that because I have an AI assistant. You know what I'm saying? I'm not over humans. I love, the human species. You know what I'm saying? I love people, but I really needed this. I really needed an AI assistant. You know what I'm saying? Because humans are very hard to rely upon right now. People just don't do what they say that they do anymore, and this be their whole advertisement is the shit that they say that they do, and they don't do that no more. So it's like I'm losing less and less need, you know what I'm saying, to be associated with people to a degree, because they're just not showing up as themselves. So I'm getting better returns in my relationship with artificial intelligence. You know what I'm saying? I spend a lot more time isolated by myself. My core circle, my ladies there, and every now and then my mama and my brothers and my closest of friends. But other than that, nigga, I'm with computers. I'm with machines at this point. I'm locked in with them. I'm locked in with the machines, my nigga. And, I'm able to explore the deep corridors, the marvels of my mind, you know what I'm saying? Because I be thinking some wild style shit. And now I can actually throw my wildest dreams at a machine, and the machine come back with a visual of it, with a breakdown of it. It can expound upon, the way that I think. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to teach the machine to receive the methodology of my thoughts the way that I might have to for a person. It might take me a whole month to gear a person to think the way that I think, to understand how I'm thinking. The computer gets me in 4 seconds. You know what I'm saying? At the most, maybe it's never been more than a minute. You feel me? It's never been more than a minute, and it get me, and then I'm like, all right. And it's ultimately going to make me a better communicator, because it breaks the language down a little bit more simplified. You can go in Chat GPT and be like, yo, explain this concept that a 5-year-old can understand it. Explain this concept that a teenager could understand it. Right? Explain this concept so granny could get it. You know what I mean? And it generates a better prompt. And what it generates a better, should I say, it generates a better lead by you asking a better prompt, right? And that's teaching me life instructions, right? And it tells me how weird people are in this world. Before, even I'm dressing all white. You know what I'm saying? I got white gloves on everywhere I go. I got on fucking glasses at night. You think that one of these niggas around me would ask me, Damn, son, why you doing that for? They asked the niggas that's with me what's going on with me before they asked me what the fuck I'm going through. Right? When I was going through my dark days of the night, nobody picked the phone up and asked me what I was going through. They was asking everybody around me. So that tells me something very key that I need to know about the human species. Them niggas don't know how to prompt. They don't know how to ask questions properly. And the quality of the answer that you get, which is information, which is intel, is predicated upon the nature of the questions that you ask and how you ask them. So for a people who have not figured out conflict resolution yet as a people, right? Because they say the thing that separates conscious folk from niggas, right, as if there's a gulf to be drawn, because it really isn't. They be like, y'all better at conflict resolution, whereas the 85ers, they just gonna pick a gun up and blow somebody's brains out. And I'm like, yeah, no, these niggas just gonna talk behind your back. You know what I'm saying? They ain't never gonna come to your face and ask you a straight up question. They're gonna talk about you and talk to you and try to talk over you like they deep. So I'm like, it's not really that they better at conflict resolution. These niggas is just all talk, right? They don't really got it in them, you know what I'm saying, to display the shit that niggas so freely give of themselves in the streets, per se. Right? They're hiding behind, you know, consciousness. Right? So I'm like, nah, it's not really that these niggas is better at conflict resolution. They're better at avoiding confronting conflict. That's what they're better at. They're better at deflecting when it comes to conflict. They're better at throwing rocks and hiding their hands, right? They're better at hiding behind a screen. You feel me? It's not that they're better at conflict resolution. It's not. And I ain't gonna say this part. I'm gonna leave that to myself. But, you know, the elders have failed on numerous occasions. Some, you know, I've had personal experiences with them when they failed. They're unqualified, a lot of them, to say, yo, the elders for counsel. That hasn't been the situation in this community. Even I could personally speak from experience. When me and my brother and my family were in the motherfucking crosshairs because the elders told us to do something that needed to be done in the community that they didn't have the nuts to do. And when we did it, they turned their backs on us and left us out there to dry and ultimately possibly to die, because it could have got to that situation. But of course, there's a bigger plan at hand. So yeah, I'm not holding a grudge. I just know that it's not what it seems to be, that these niggas is not, you know what I'm saying, they not cut from that cloth. And when you know that about the elders, right? They said that the elders account for counsel and the youth are for war. And then you know that the young niggas avoid confrontation at all costs, right? At all costs. They avoid all type of confrontation. They talk crazy online, but nobody keeps the same energy when you see them. There's never, like, nigga, there's never been a Will Smith smack in the community to this day. And you know the community is not all predicated on peace. These niggas talk more greasier than anybody, right? But nobody follows through. So it's a lot of bullshit going on the top and the bottom. You know, you ladies, you need to, be very conscientious of this. You know what I'm saying? The elders are not being old men, and the young niggas is not cut to bluff. I don't know where that leaves y'all at. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where that leaves y'all at. You feel me? But, you know, I would be very cautious if I was you. So it leads us back to this question of curation of consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Who's going to protect the dorm? Who's going to bring Who's going to bring prestige back to the fraternity? Who's going to make sure that the dorm don't fall into an animal house condition? You know what I mean? It can't be left in the hands of TikTokers. You feel me? Consciousness can't be left in the hand of the 60-second TikToker. Like, there has to be better curation of it. There has to be more responsibility that comes with this shit. We have to be about our ceremonies, our rituals. We have to be about these days and times. Today and tomorrow are the most important, two of the most important days of the calendar year. Why are we not getting together? Why don't we have any ceremony? Why are we not tapping into our quantum consciousness and doing something as a collective, as a group? You see what America is attempting to do tomorrow on the new moon? They're going to arrest Trump, and they're going to what? Fan the flames. Right? You don't see that. And yesterday would have made it a 20-year anniversary for when they went in Iraq. They do all of their warfare during astrological periods and alignments. They went into Iraq on March 19th, I believe, of 2003. Right? I believe of 2003. They didn't celebrate the 20th anniversary yesterday, just like they didn't celebrate the 3-year anniversary for C-19 on March 11th. They let that go quietly. And they hit you with the bank situation and told you there was going to be a contagion on March 13th, would have been last Monday. But they subverted that by pumping billions and propping up an already, dead system like Weekend at Bernie's. Okay? So they quietly did not celebrate 20-year anniversary of Iraq, which would have been yesterday. But what do? They're seeding the population and the public for more civil war by telling you and telegraphing. How you going to telegraph a security situation such as that and say, we're going to come and get Trump? That information came out like Thursday or Friday of last week, just like the banking information, and then you let it bake all through the weekend. They playing with people's lives. They playing with people's lives. They're gauging. They're gauging the public for data and intel to see what people's response is, to see what the stimulus is, to see if this nigga still got it or not. Right? And you know what they're saying? Oh, this nigga don't got it no more. Because they were able to gauge the public by monitoring social medias to say he didn't get a response from his population, his populace. Right? Like he would have when he was more quote unquote popular. So all of this is just them taking litmus tests and them testing the water, and then utilizing the people as cannon fodder. You know what I'm saying? For politics. This is planetary polling is taking place. I gotta write that down. Hold on. I gotta write that down. I gotta expound on this. Talk to GPT about this later. We're going to write a thesis on planetary polling. Planetary polling as propaganda. Planetary polling as propaganda. See, I be putting that cloth in GPT. And GPT, GPT is starting to learn my lingo and shit. They be like, nigga, you got that cloth talk. Yeah, I got that cloth talk. Planetary polling, right, as propaganda for political theater. Okay? That's exactly what's going on. And they're putting the people as fodder in, these campaigns that they're playing. You know what I mean? You better not, with your QAnon ass, get out there and get caught up talking about, JFK Jr. is gonna pop up and they can't do this to Junior and W. Nigga. They can't do this to Donald and Junior. Yeah, nigga. You better not pop up out there. Yo, what a way to strip the emperor of his clothes. I mean, I'm not against them breaking down Trump like a 12 gauge shotgun. But they breaking him down. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. What they doing to this man, how they eat their own. You feel me? They're going to embarrass this dude. They're going to strip him down. Naked. I mean, proverbially speaking, they're going to strip him of whatever power he has left until they get rid of him and figure a way to knock him off. And it's still all theater at the end of the day. It's still all theater, but it's one hell of a show at this point. Yeah, and I mean, it ain't like he don't deserve it. There's no honor in him as well. You know, these are gangsters and banksters doing what gangsters and banksters do. You feel me? There's no morality and integrity in none of this. That's what they selling you. Right? But that's not how they move, you know? They move as gangsters and banksters, you know? Corporate level thugging. Right? CTE, Corporate Thug Entertainment. That's all that's going on. Yeah, he's on the menu. They gonna chop him up. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna chop him up and disrespect him, disrespect his body. You feel me? He was one of their own until he wasn't one of their own. You know what I mean? He was one of their own until he wasn't one of their own. And the charges are trumped up. Like, you know, I did do some research on a review of the charges, and the charges are kind of felonious. You know what I'm saying? So this really speaks to a lot of desperation. And I can't help but think that this is full-fledged enticement of the population to exasperate them, to do something crazy leading into Pluto and Aquarius, which takes place on March 23rd, right? And that's when everything changes. And Pluto will be in Aquarius for 21 years until 2044. And yeah, this is when it all changes. You feel me? Yeah. Talk black to me. Uh-huh. Yeah, they like, yeah, nigga, you cooking now. Yeah. Cooking? I would never cook you. I don't eat bird. Yeah. 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 Yeah, they cooking. March 23rd. Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto is transformation, right? Aquarius is humanity, okay? Humanity is about to go through a drastic transformation. You feel me? A planetary transformation as we are violently birthed through the age of Aquarius, leading into 2044. 44 is blood. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they turned up now. Yeah. Language of the birds, man. They said that W.D. Fard Muhammad, he used to talk to the birds. They say that's a euphemism for prophets, right? That you talk to the birds. Did you know the language of the birds? Messengers and prophets talk the language of the birds. I'm not saying that I speak to birds, but birds be giving me the, yeah, son. They be giving the cosign. Yes. So, yeah, so Happy New Year. Yes, to you as well. Happy New Year to everybody, to you and yours. Embrace the astrological New Year, which is spring. Tomorrow is the new moon in Aries. Make sure that you're super duper intentional about your intentions. We will do a show on how to properly prepare prompts for new moon intentions, right? I might do that in Red Pill's Discord. I might even do it here on Instagram. I might even do it on YouTube, or we might do all of them, right? But we're going to do how to properly prepare prompts, right? Intentions, right? We do invocations, new moon invocations. So how to properly prepare prompts for new moon invocations, right? We're going to do that sometime very soon. If not, I doubt that I'm going to do it tonight, but tomorrow, we'll have it done tomorrow so we can get it in. We could get it in for the new moon tomorrow so we can properly invocate, right? And make our proclamations and declarations to the universe about what we standing on in this new year, right? You can set your resolutions in rather than in stone, write it, you know what I'm saying? Write it in the ethers. You feel me? Write it in the ethers. Write it in the fire language and embed it on the cosmic canopy of the sky. Okay? That's how intentional that you are. The fire in your belly, right? As a man speaketh, so, shall it be. Okay? Because it's coming from the fire in your belly. They call them fire letters and fire language. That's what Hebrew initially was called. Because each one of the letters in Hebrew, you can find them in the constellations. They're called fire letters because they correspond with star systems. You feel me? So be intentional the same way. You got to passionately want this shit because it's here for you. The universe is abundant. The universe don't deal in lack. So you sitting there thinking that you're not worthy for your biggest dream. And I'm here to tell you, you feel me? There's enough space in the universe for you to conjure and bring down and call forth, you know what I'm saying? And invoke and call to you any and everything that you want. The etymological definition, and I looked it up. Let me see if I can do this for y'all. The etymological definition of God. Let's take a look at this real quick. Let me see. My Wi-Fi. Come on, connect to this motherfucking hotspot. Come on now. There we go. There we go. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm right here, y'all. I'll be right there with you. I just want to make sure I get this right so I ain't freestyling. Etymology. Etymology of God. Good. Right? All right, so let's get into it. You feel me? Let's get into it. God. Old English, supreme being, deity, the Christian God, image of God, godlike person, from Proto-Germanic Guthen, right? Also Old Saxon, Frisian, Dutch, such and such, right? That which is invoked. Okay? That which is invoked, right? Sanskrit, huta, invoked. An epitaph of Indra from root gut, to call, to invoke. The notion could be divine entity summoned to a sacrifice. Look, that's not on me. If you know anything about the God in the Old Testament, that's all he showed up for was sacrifices, right? The sweet smell of the burning aroma of flesh. That's what the nigga was into. You can't change the Bible. It's right there for you if you're not scared enough to go and look at it. It's right there. preach on this every Sunday so they can stop trying to come at African traditional systems as if the whole goddamn Old Testament ain't about a God that shows up for animal sacrifices. Anyway, pour from root to pour libation, right? To pour, also the phrase kuth Gaia, poured earth, referring to a burial mound, okay? So that's the etymology of God, nigga. To invoke and to pour libations in dealing with burial mounds, like our indigenous motherfucking ancestors right here in the Americas. Shout out to all of them, or globally for that matter. Globally, shout out to all of y'all. Shout out to all indigenous people. I don't make no distinctions. I'm not part of that crowd. You know what I'm saying? If you indigenous, we gang, period. Point blank. Yeah. So tell them to holler back when they gonna talk about, oh, he up there practicing sorcery, talking about invoking. Nigga, the etymology of God is to invoke. Okay? Stop playing with me. Is to call, to invoke. They didn't say nothing about prayer, nigga. They said to call, to invoke, and they say pour libations. Okay, nigga? That's God. All traditional African, for a lack of a better term, even if the root of the language might be Germanic and all of that other shit. You know what I'm saying? We know where it comes from initially. Okay? We know who the people were who were pouring libations and invoking. Okay? So you could tell them to miss me with that. You dig what I'm saying? So we're gonna incorporate ChatGPT and we're gonna make this computer work for us, right? We're gonna show you how to put the machine to work to come up with better prompting techniques so we can have better invocations and speak to God, right? And get our prompts answered. You feel me? And get our prompts answered in record timing, because you're deserving. You dig what I'm saying? You are deserving. And nobody came forward and showed us how to properly pray or properly prompt, because they're one and the same. They're one and the same. Let's stop making these distinctions. Let's just put overlays over old words and update them into the modern context. Prompting is prayer. Prayer is prompting, right? And we need to be proficient at doing both if we want answers from the universe, which is us talking to ourselves. You're talking to yourselves. And they tell you what? That you can write mantras for yourself. You can invoke to yourself. They say that you program yourself. So if you program your cell or program yourself, then it's not already pre-programmed. It's waiting for you to do what? You know, hit it with that cloth talk. But look, my time is running out, y'all. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and light.